Eileen Atkins, born on the 16th of June 1934, what is your very first memory?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I don't think I can remember much till the war. That sounds bizarre. Yes, I remember. I remember the gypsy coming to our house and telling my mother, when I was 3, and telling my mother that I was going to be a dancer. Another Pavlova, she said, which I wasn't.
Well, you must explain where the house was, who your mother was, and how this gypsy knew to come to the house. Where are we?
Oh, well, they came to every house and they did a number down the street and told palms and things, and everybody got very excited. My mother was 46 when she had me, so that was quite
Unusual in those days.
Yes, was very.
Were you the first?
No, I was the third.
Gosh. Your mother is 46 when you're born, so she's about 49 at the time of this story. What is her name?
Annie Atkins.
And her husband is?
Arthur Atkins.
Good, solid names.
Yes.
Arthur and Annie Atkins. And your mother was a housewife?
And yes, but she did a million jobs before she met my father, because they didn't marry until she was 39.
Goodness.
She only married because he was a widow and left with a 3-year-old girl living in her house. And he said to her, "Would you mind looking after this girl for me when I'm not there? I'll pay you." I said, "No, I'll marry you, but I won't otherwise."
Well, how interesting. How did they know one another to begin with?
Well, just as a lodger.
She was lodging?
No, he was lodging
in her
house. Her mother ran a boarding house, and her mother was terribly lazy. I knew her mother.
Well, that's your grandmother.
Yeah.
I knew her mother. That is your grandmother, Eileen.
She was terribly... And then at that time, my mother was doing a job at a factory sewing all day, drawing pints in the evening at the Elephant Castle, and having to look after most of the house because my grandmother just didn't do enough. So she was doing 3 jobs, and I think she was she wanted out. She wanted children more than anything. And my father said, "Oh, all right."
So he was a bit older than her, I assume.
No, younger.
He was younger. So
he was 3 years younger.
So it was a bit. So he was 36.
Yes.
Unusual to be widowed at 36, to become a widower at 36.
Oh yes, she was died in childbirth.
Oh no.
Yes, and the baby died.
Oh, but he had already got one 3-year-old.
Yes.
And so
Peggy,
who was your half sister.
Yes.
Yeah. So Peggy and your dad are lodgers in your grandmother's house.
Yes.
Which is basically run by your mother,
yes,
who is a very hard-working lady, who's sewing all day in the sewing factory. Then she comes home and has to do the tidying up, the cleaning of the sink, which your mother's left. How many lodgers did you have in the house?
Oh, I don't know. Not many. I think I've only ever heard of him as a lodger. She's never told me.
And your grandmother had this house because she was a widow, I assume.
Yes,
and
my grandmother was widowed 3 times.
Oh.
And the first time at 17. And I've always wanted to know who my grandfather is on that side.
And of the 3 husbands who your grandmother managed to see into the grave, which one of those was your grandfather.
The first one.
No, when she was 17.
Yes.
How intriguing. So she was 17. She just married because girls then could marry at 16 or 17.
Yes.
And she did.
Yeah.
And they were...
Yeah.
Do you know anything about their relationship?
Nothing at all. I long to know about him. There's just a photograph of him. And he looks rather Italian. But I don't know anything about him at all. He's the only one of my family I want to know about.
And was he killed in the First World War? I mean, why did he die?
Oh, no, I think he was ill.
He was ill. And he would not have been much older than her, so he'd have been perhaps 20 or something like that.
Yes, 21, I think he was.
He was 21. And so she, aged 17, became a widow.
She was a widow and had 2 more marriages before she was 30.
She had a lot of bad luck. We shouldn't laugh, because it's heartbreaking for her.
Yes, no.
Fourth potential husband came along. She said, no, I don't think I dare risk it. Fourth. Oh, Mum. We will pull ourselves together. But how did she lose these 2 other husbands?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, dear. What was her name?
I don't know. I only knew her as Granny.
Yeah.
And I only heard my mother refer to her as Mother. So I don't know what her name was.
But your mother is the one who was born to her when she was 17 in their first marriage.
Yeah.
So what kind of person was your mother? Clearly she was somebody with a lot of energy.
Yes. And organised and drive. And she had... well, I disliked her a lot of the time, and now I admire her tremendously because she was very forceful. I mean, my father just did what she wanted. I just married her and was dead keen on my career, so she was always taking me off dancing.
Even before the gypsy turned up. So in this house, where is the house where the gypsy comes? What is?
So I was the one who got them the council house.
Yeah, because of having a child, they were eligible.
Well, she'd had 2 boys when she was 39. And then one died of meningitis when she was 42, I think. And 2 boys very close to each other. And it was terrible. There was a huge picture of, he was known as Bubby because people called him that, I don't know why. And a great big depressing photograph of this child in our living room, and that was the only thing on the wall. Wherever you looked, there was this baby who died.
Bubby.
And he was Bubby. And apparently he was, what do they call it? He won baby competitions.
Oh.
And my brothers had a wretched life because he felt that she adored him and he was the one who died. My brother felt that she'd rather he'd died.
And is this your only surviving brother?
Yes.
And what was he called?
Ron.
So Ron survives, Bubby dies. Your mother is obviously understandably so distressed by this. Your father, what did he do? He was a few years younger than your mother. How did he earn a living?
He worked for London, the electricity board. The electricity board. He was a electric meter reader.
Yes. He went round to people's houses and
read their meters.
Yeah.
To such effect. And I'm jumping it a little, but when in the war, he looks exactly like Hitler.
Oh, dear.
Which was a little disturbing for me. And I thought there was a possibility he might be Hitler. And he looked so like Hitler that a huge Jewish woman in the East End pushed him in the cupboard, locked the door, called the police to tell him that she'd got Hitler disguised as a meter reader. And he was very proud of this story. Very, very proud indeed.
Extraordinary.
I don't know.
It's amazing. So he had a little Hitler moustache, essentially.
Yes,
and
but he cultivated the moustache when the war started.
But he wasn't at all in sympathy with Hitler, I assume.
No.
And he was too old by then to serve.
He'd been in the First World War.
Fine.
So
he'd done his bit.
He'd done his
the king and country.
Yes, he was.
And how were they together, your mother and father?
What do you mean, how were they together?
As a couple. Do you remember them as a couple? Did they get on well?
Yes, I do remember. They got on very well. But mainly because my father was so good-tempered. He was an absolute darling. And
the idea of this Hitler.
And she could organise everything at home. She did everything, so he only had to read the meters. And he was a good. He was a I would say song and dance man, but I never saw him dance.
Did they not dance together? Didn't hear them?
I didn't see them do anything together. I saw no love between them, but they got on. And I never saw love, but I very rarely saw that they didn't, that there was any trouble between them.
So it was quite a placid house because he was even-tempered and she was busy. Everything was quite settled at home.
Yes, unless my mother was upset by something and then she had a temper.
And that's why you didn't like her at times. You said you didn't like her.
No.
Be specific about why you didn't like her.
I don't know. I felt... When people talk about how the affectionate times they have with their mother, I did have some. She was wonderful to me. She was, but there was something I felt detached from her. When I got older, I became detached from my father too. So when I was about 12, I didn't know either of them. And that's wrong. When I was about 12, I knew I was going to get out of the family. I can't explain.
No, you do explain. I understand completely, and you're not alone. I've just been writing a biography of A.A. Milne.
Yeah.
And he came, and he wrote this several times, that it's either at 12 or 13 you begin the long process of saying goodbye. And he does a portrait of his father, and he's 12 when he's thinking about this, about the beginning of the end, he says, comes when you're 12, which is interesting.
Yes, I think it's a terribly interesting age. Mm. It's suddenly when you blossom, I think.
But you blossomed earlier. So let's go back to this gypsy. They come down the road. They maybe sell you a bit of heather. They offer to read your palm. That sort of thing goes on. And the gypsy, can you picture the gypsy? Was she looked like a gypsy?
She was beautiful, I thought, because she was fully dressed in a gypsy that thing, 2 skirts, coloured, sash. She was done up to tell the fortunes and everything. But she looked at me at the end of the thing and said, "That one there, she's going to be a great dancer." Another pavlova, as I said.
Wonderful. And your mother believed this?
Totally. So when I was 3, I was taken for dancing lessons. And I wouldn't go. I wouldn't stay. I screamed. I have to say I was a strong favourite with my mother. You know, she did what I told her to. And I was taken for lessons in dancing about 4 times until I got to 5. And each time I screamed the place down until they took me home. When I was 5 and the war had started, I was taken again. I tried to get her out of it. I said, I can't go again. After I stayed for 1 lesson, I said to my mother, I can't go back there again. So I said, that girl Doris put my head down the lavatory and pulled the chain. And my mother said, I'm going to the teacher. Well, of course, somebody called Doris was somebody I just heard the name and didn't like the look of. And so I said, Doris, she hadn't done it at all. And she said she hadn't. But the teacher wanted to keep me. When I was a child, I was very much a child that people stopped and said, oh, isn't she pretty? I was only pretty in a very working class way, in the fact that I had curly hair and blonde curly hair and big blue eyes. That's all.
Well, that's charming. This was the era also of Shirley Temple.
Yes.
Who was globally famous for having big blue eyes and lovely blonde curly hair.
I was called Tottenham's own Shirley Temple.
Tottenham's own Shirley Temple. Yeah. How wonderful.
That was how I was advertised.
Goodness. So this is in Tottenham in London.
Yeah.
You're still in the same, you're now in the council house.
Yeah.
What are your memories of war, the arrival of war? You're 5 in 1939.
I remember it very clearly. I remember the morning they announced that we were at war and everybody was in their back gardens. Everyone was saying how awful it was. And I knew something dreadful had happened. But I didn't quite know what. And the next thing I knew, I was taken to the station, given a box with a gas mask in and a piece of chocolate and put on a train. I got on the train thinking my mother was coming on too. And the next thing I knew, she was waving goodbye and I was evacuated.
So you were one of the evacuees.
Yes.
A vackie age 5.
Yes.
Getting onto a train with a lot of other strange children.
Yes, you don't know.
And where were you sent?
Little Baddow in Essex. Mm-hmm. My brother had already gone, which I hadn't noticed, I don't think. And we got to the place where we were going to go, and then the person who'd said they'd take one would come down to the gate and choose one of us. Well, I was chosen first. And the woman said, I think my little girl, she's perfect for her. She said, go in the house and you'll find her child. I went into the house and the child came at me, full tilt, and took the gas mask and took the chocolate from me. And then I screamed. I screamed the place down. So the woman, everybody said, I couldn't stay there. It was then discovered that my brother was in the same village. He was with a lovely family with 3 girls, and he was so happy. And I was put next door with the woman next door who had no children. And she didn't know how to behave with a child at all.
These were middle-class families, were they, who had agreed to take in evacuees?
Yes.
And so they meant well?
Yes, they did mean well.
And you did at least have your brother and the 3 girls in the house next door?
Yeah.
And how long did you stay there?
I guess 3 or 4 months. I didn't cry so much. I just remember it was a very unhappy time. I got nits. That's what saved me. And they said, we must get her mother. And my mother was always coming down anyway to see, not always, but when she could.
At weekends, she tried to get down.
Come. I remember the first day I saw the country, because that was the first time I'd ever seen the country. And my mother came down for the day, and we went out and sat in a poppy field. I always remember that. And I said to my mother, why can't we live in a lovely place like this? And she said, well, because we have to work, both of us. Mm-hmm. And you can't get work in places like this.
Then after 3 or 4 months, you returned to London. The sort of feeling of crisis is over in the country.
And when I got nits, my mother thought, that's disgusting. She said, I'm taking her home. So I was taken home, and I was mainly with my mother. And, when I was 5, of course, I went to school for 2 weeks. And that's why I was evacuated with the school.
So all the children at the school were evacuated together?
When I went back home, for some reason, I didn't go back to school. And it was 2 years before anybody remembered or that there was a child there and that I ought to be at school.
So some inspector came round and said, Mrs. Atkins, why is your daughter not at school?
Yeah, an inspector came round because we were bombed.
This is the Blitz has now arrived.
Yes, yes, the Blitz has now arrived. My mother said, we're not spending another night in that damned Anderson shelter.
Oh, these are the famous Anderson shelters named after some minister who they had in the garden, and it was like a bomb shelter.
Yeah. And she said, we'll die of pneumonia. It's so cold and damp in there. She'll be going inside. On the third day, we were out of the shelter. The third night, rather, we didn't go in the shelter. It got a direct hit by a high explosive.
The Anderson shelter was bombed, literally.
It was literally, and we would have all been killed, without doubt. My night dress was dug up a mile away.
Goodness. Well done, your mother. She saved
Well done, yes. She must have been a bit psychic.
Well, she liked a good gypsy, so she probably had those special powers herself.
And so when the back of the house fell out too, and a man came round and said, there appears to be on my list another child in the house, and she doesn't go to school. And by this time I was 7.
Had your mother been teaching you? I mean, had she taught you?
No.
But did you learn to read and write for yourself? I mean,
I learned to read it by myself. So I had to go to school. And I went to the school, and it looked horrible, and it was. And I said to my mother, after Thursday, I'm not going there again. I'm not going to school. But by this time, she'd become very pally with the teacher of the dancing school. Mm-hmm. So she told her that I wouldn't go to school. This teacher paid for me to go 2 guineas a term, 6 guineas a year she spent for me to go to a little private school.
Oh, so this was the lady who ran the dance school?
Yes.
Put her own money because she believed in you.
Yeah.
And helped your mother out by sending you to this small private school.
And for some reason, I don't like her. I never liked this woman. She was so good to me, and I don't like her. But where she sent me to, I thought was heaven. Parkside, it was called, and we next to the park. Oh, I thought it was wonderful. I liked all the girls and everything.
So suddenly you were happy.
Yeah, very happy.
But weren't you also happy by then because you were dancing? When you were 5, the dance school you settled in, the one that was run by
Yes, I had to settle, and I realised I had to dance.
And what sort of dancing were you doing?
Oh, awful. Tapping, something terrible called toe tapping that they must have stopped because you can't get shoes for it now. And ruins your feet. You dance on
on your toes.
Your toes.
What about the stories of you dancing in, was it a pub or was it outside the railway station?
Outside
Have I imagined this?
Outside the railway station.
Didn't you perform when you were a very little girl? Oh, maybe I have imagined this.
No, you've imagined that.
Are you sure?
Outside the railway station.
Well, I can picture you telling me a story about, well, maybe this is like Doris and the head going down the lavatory and pulling the train. Maybe this didn't happen. Maybe you thought, Giles needs a lift. I'll tell him the story about the time when I was a little girl that I danced on the counter. You're either in a pub on the bar doing a dance,
oh yes,
or you're outside an underground station. Am I imagining this?
No, I think you've just squeezed two things up together a bit. I was a lot on the underground, stepping amongst sleeping people.
This was for safety. People used to sleep on the underground stations for...
Getting to my date, I used to be taken out at about 7 o'clock at night, and we'd have to go by bus or underground and go to these working men's clubs.
And how old are you when you're doing this?
Well, 5.
So at 5 years of age, you're being taken from the safety of under the underground at 7 o'clock to be an entertainer.
Yes.
At a working men's club.
Yes.
And this is your mother taking you.
Yes.
With her great work ethic.
Yes.
We can earn a few bob.
Yes.
And
yes.
When you say a working men's club, what sort of establishment would this be?
Well, working men's club.
Like a club where there are working men, there's a bar.
I remember telling Morecambe and Wise.
Morecambe and Wise, yes.
Eric Morecambe. I remember telling him in a lift once at the BBC, we exchanged memories of working men's clubs. We got the same. I got to pay the same. He said 15 bob a go. And I said, yes. He said, yes, that's what we used to get.
How extraordinary. Well, you were the same sort of generation.
Yeah.
Because he began as a sort of child performer, didn't he?
Yeah.
So for 15 bob, that's quite a lot of money, really.
It was.
So it was useful to your parents. And what was the entertainment you offered age 5?
It was pretty awful. I think it was what was my first song? I think it was Maresy Dotes.
Maresy Dotes and Dozy Dotes and Little Lambs Eat Ivy. Diddly Ivy Do. Something like that.
Yes.
But there was also, what was that funny song you used to sing?
Oh, I sang lots of outrageous songs.
There was one.
But clearly none of them knew what they meant.
No, and you didn't. Just give me the one that's in your head. I know there's one where you do a bit of pointing in it.
Do you mean the French ones?
Yes, maybe I do.
I got the eye, I got the wink that makes the fellows think. I got the mouth to go like this. Oh la la, I am French and a Frenchy girl can kiss. I got the smile, I got the style that make the old man young, la la. They hug and squeeze me like a chic, then they kiss me on the cheek. Oh la la, comme ci, comme ça.
You were a sensation. You didn't need any music, you could just do it. Were you accompanied? Was there somebody playing something?
Oh, yes. Oh,
there was a fellow on the piano who was doing the honky-tonk in the background.
Everywhere he went, there was
And you were singing song. Well, of course you were a sensation. No wonder they were picking you up at 7 p.m. to take you to the working men's club, 15 bob. I'd pay a lot more than 15 bob to hear you doing that song.
It was pornographic, really. I mean, I was clearly... I can't think of a word now, but...
Well, do you feel now you were exploited? I don't. I mean...
Yes, but I don't blame them.
No. And there was an element of enjoying it. I mean,
they thought I enjoyed it. Afterwards, I thought about it. I thought, you didn't enjoy it. You rather just got used to it. I started asking them if I could stop at about 10, but they said no. And then I got pretty stroppy about saying I wanted to stop when I was 12.
But you weren't treated badly?
No, my mother used to protect me very hard. Because the other artists hated me.
Because they were adults.
I'd hear them say through the curtain, I do hate it when I get a child in.
Because the audience loved the children.
Yeah. For the wrong reasons, I'm afraid.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, yes. I think, well, it was all men.
Is that, do you think, why you ended up your life being a performer? Because of that experience?
No. Because I see acting as something totally different. And I did like dancing. Completely different. Completely different.
Well, we're going to have to come on to that. You do have to go to school now because the inspector's seen that you haven't been at school.
Yes.
You'll get sent to this really nice school for 6 guineas a year. You're happy there.
Yeah.
And are the rest of your school days happy? How long do you stay on at the school?
I love the whole time. I love the whole time I was there.
Who was your best friend at that school?
Angela Davis was my best friend. But I was mostly mad about the headmistress. What was her name? Something Margaret Hall. She looked like Charlton Heston, only as a woman, which is pretty impressive, you must admit.
Yes.
And I wanted to be her. I wanted her to like me more than anything. And she never showed. I felt I was never a favourite, and I was going to make myself one. And I spent my whole time there trying to please her.
And did you succeed? Did she notice you?
Yes. It was Princess something or other day. What was the princess? Who do you remember?
Well, it was Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret Rose.
No.
From an earlier era, there might have been Princess Alexandra.
There was...
like Queen Alexandra's Day for a collection money.
There was... one of them was a collection day.
Yeah.
And she'd asked her favourite, Geraldine, to come and hold the tin for her while she sold them. And Geraldine was full of herself. And then she said to me, "Oh, would you like to come as well?" Yes. Well, you've got to be here at 6 o'clock in the morning before school and stand in the street. Now, the morning, it was pelting with rain. And my mother said, "There's no way you're going out on it." I said, "There's no way I'm missing it." I got to the school, and Geraldine's mother wouldn't let her come.
Well done.
So I was in. I was there, and I thought, I'm going to be so good today. And I was good. I didn't talk too much. I talked just the right amount. I sold the
little flags.
The flags. Then we walked back up the street to have breakfast. She said, "Oh, well, I think you deserve a breakfast for that." Because, and I can't remember exactly what she said now, but it was something like, "You can be proud of yourself." Mm-hmm. I'm going to be... And I was at the table. I remember eating a proper breakfast, which I never had before. And in came Geraldine. And again, Miss Hall said to her, "Well, didn't matter because Eileen was and I can't remember again what she said, but she meant that I would be in a little trooper all day. Mm. And from then on, she did rather like me.
Well done. You did it.
I did it, yes.
It's very touching, isn't it?
Yes.
80 years later, here we are remembering it. Amazing.
And she was the first, I just realised, she was the first woman I admired. She came to see me years later when I was playing St. Jerome and came into the room and said, "You naughty girl, it made me cry." She was lovely.
Unravel if you can. I can see why you would have admired this very special head teacher. Your mother, who you now do respect and admire because of the hard work she put in all those years, you said there were times you didn't like her. Was that because of her temper, or because she was your mother, or because she made you go to the dancing classes? What was it that you didn't like about her?
No, I'm afraid to say. I'm very afraid to say. I was born a snob, and my mother and the dancing teacher, I knew I weren't good enough. It was education and intelligence that Margaret Hall had. And it's awful to say that, but I knew very quickly, I was reading, don't forget, before I went to school. And I knew that the family, none of the others in the family read much. I don't remember anybody else who had books. I saved up all my pocket money and spent it on books. And I went to finding the library was heaven. I found the first person in Tottenham who was educated and different.
And you thought, I'm going to be like that. I am like that. She's my kind of woman.
I didn't think I could be like that. But she moulded me terrifically. I suppose I wanted to be an intellectual.
Yeah. Mm. And how did that materialise? You obviously flourished at this school under Miss Hall's guidance. You're, as it were, moving into her axis and away from your humbler parents in that way of life. You're moving towards something else. How does that translate into the career you then eventually have? What happens at school?
I was extraordinarily lucky in my second school. I went to Latimer's, Edmonton.
Oh. And was it then an independent school like Parkside, or was it a
no, it was when I went there. It's become very posh now, but it was anybody. It was for 8 poor boys of Edmonton. It started.
So you could just get in if you passed the exam. You could get
the scholarship was a big thing, and my mother sent me with a note one day because she thought it would be handy for me to speak properly. Mm-hmm. She must have heard somewhere that we didn't speak properly. By properly, I mean without an accent.
Yeah, you had a Tottenham accent.
Yes, I had a Tottenham accent. And so I went with the school with a note, and one teacher said she would do it for 7 and 6, half an hour every week. My mother said, no, I can't afford that. One day, our religious instructor swooped down on me. He wore a gown and swooped down on me in the corridor and said, I hear you want to learn to speak properly. And I said, well, I don't. It's my mum. And so he said, if you come to me whenever I say so, whenever I feel like it, I'll do it for no money. Well, I'd known him from the divinity classes, but that was all. And he'd become interested in me. It couldn't happen now. We ended up, I almost every night I'd go in there. And he, through learning to speak properly, we had to do pieces and work on them. And my first piece was Prince Arthur. And
Prince Arthur was a child in which play?
King John.
Fine.
must you with hot irons burn out both mine eyes? Have you the heart? And he took me to my first theatre.
What was it called?
Mr. Burton.
Mr. Burton. And you say it wouldn't happen nowadays because, of course, everyone nowadays would be suspicious of him.
Absolutely.
And this older man with this child would be thought, oh, no, he can't be alone with her. What's the guardianship situation? What's the safety and all that? But I take it that he behaved perfectly...
impeccably.
Yeah.
Oh, he was jealous. He was jealous if I went out with one of the boys. He was jealous of the boys. But he never touched me, never put a... And it never entered my head.
Oh.
And if he had done, I'm sure I would have shouted.
Yes, indeed. I think you would. We've established you're quite good at screaming when things don't suit you. So this man was the great influence on your life.
Well, he was 32 at the time.
Oh, quite young.
He was young. And I was 12. So I was only 20 years younger. And we used to meet on the bus. We arranged to meet. I did all this without thinking I was being secretive, but I must have been very secretive because my mother knew nothing. She knew I was having lessons. That was the only thing. And I got the same bus every morning, so I could sit on the bus near him, next to him. And when we got out the other end, there was a whole bit we could walk together, and then we'd automatically part so that nobody would see us arriving. But he didn't have to say that was the reason.
You just, both of you instinctively knew that was the right thing to do because you did have this secret.
Yeah.
And you also were moving into a new world. This was, you're age 12. You're really leaving home now.
And it was a mixed school too, which was unusual.
Yeah. I mean, can you remember the first boyfriend you had? The first...
Oh, yes, Ray Lambert.
Ray Lambert?
I was mad about him.
Oh.
He was a year older than me, very good looking. And I met him at a party and he kissed me and I was crazy about him. And I found out he was already attached to a girl because they had the same mothers, the girl and him. And they'd had children at the same mothers.
They were friends.
They were friends.
The mothers, the two mothers, yes.
And they, at the same time, practically, they'd had their children, a girl and a boy, and they were determined that they would marry. And the children had been brought up together, had holidays together, everything together. But he was also taken with me. And it's a long story now, but I was mad about him for 4 years.
Oh, so you were devoted. And did he treat you badly in the end?
Oh, no, he didn't treat me badly. It wasn't, no, he was a dear, and I don't know, I do know why it had to end, because he'd been told it must end by Mr. Burton.
So Mr. Burton was jealous. He needed you.
Yes.
Mr. Burton probably covered it up by saying she must focus on her work now. You're a bit of a distraction. Was that, I imagine, how you sugared the pill? Or
Mr. Burton said to him, she's not made for the likes of you. She didn't say the likes of you. He said, she's made to be an actress. And if you're going to start seeing her, it's all going to come to pieces now. And he was quite right, because I was crazy about him.
So you were crazy about Ray, but you're also in the thrall of Mr. Burton. And Mr. Burton ultimately wins because you do abandon Ray, or you and Ray part. Anyway, Ray has got the other. Does he, in the end, just to finish on Ray, does he marry the girl that is...
Yes, he does.
Oh.
And he got in touch with me when he was 60-something, because on a radio show, I was doing a radio show, and he called in
Oh, you were being interviewed, a phone-in?
Yes.
And he actually phoned in and said, I'm Ray.
It wasn't him who phoned. It was his niece. And so we then started writing to each other.
Gosh.
And Pat had died at about 60-something.
That was his wife.
Yeah.
And he was newly on the market and thought maybe he could turn the clock back half a century. And now that Mr. Burton was also gone, he might be in with a chance, and you'd become an actress. So how did it? So Mr. Burton is influencing you. He sees the genius that you have, and he's encouraging you. Does he say go to drama school? What happens?
Well, it was very much that I was going to be an actress, but he was wonderfully careful because he had to persuade my parents. My parents didn't want me to do this at all. My parents thought she leaves at 16 and she's out at work. She's out at work being a hoofer, and that's what it is. So they had to be dealt with. And he told them, we'll put her in for RADA. And if she gets a scholarship there, I'll know I'm right and she's special. If she doesn't get the scholarship, she'll put in for the Guildhall and do a teacher's course and be a teacher. They got us down to the last 3 for the scholarship. And on my sister's birthday, I was handed a telegram, and it was to say I hadn't got the scholarship.
Oh, no.
They were very sorry that I hadn't got it. And I cried and ran out of the room. And as I ran, I heard my sister say, oh, that's her over. She gets the attention. She'll do anything to get attention.
But also, it's a terrible moment for you and for Mr. Burton, because you've been turned down by RADA. Can you remember who did get the scholarship that year? Do you know?
No, I've never found out.
So where do you go? What happens?
So it was all, my parents were rather relieved, I remember. And they were all right. If I was going to be a teacher, that was quite good locally. It was pretty respectable. And I very quickly saw that nobody took any notice of the drama students at all. They just didn't bother to check you out or care who went to what. So I simply did all the things that the drama students did.
Oh, so you went to be a teacher, but you actually joined in the classes for being an actor?
Yes. And I wasn't found out until my 3rd year.
Oh, how wonderful.
On my 3rd year, I had to go and do 1 day a week teaching, which I just did poems with them all the time. And then I was cast as Eliza Doolittle in the last term at the school. And I was called in by the principal. He said, you know, I've just noticed after 3 years that you're a teacher. You should have done the teaching course. And I said, well, I've been into some classes. And he said, but you're playing Eliza Doolittle. And I said, yes. He said, well, you won't be anymore.
Oh.
So but he didn't stop everything until the last year, last term of the last year. And then I failed all exams.
But you were born to play Eliza Doolittle and Pygmalion because it was in some ways your story.
I never played it.
Oh, you didn't play it in the end? He stopped you playing
it?
Because you were natural with your Tottenham accent, and then...
Yeah, it would have been perfect.
It would have been. So you qualified eventually as a teacher.
I did qualify as a teacher, not the first time I failed. I somehow or other passed the second time.
So you are a qualified drama teacher, but you're totally untrained as an actress, it seems.
Yes.
I don't know how you survived all these years.
And I'd won the Shakespeare Prize.
Where? At Guildhall?
At Guildhall. And Robert Atkins.
Oh, the great Robert Atkins, the man who founded the Regent's Park Open Air Theatre.
No doubt, because we have the same name.
Yes, of course.
He asked me if I'd like to go to Regent's Park. So I was straight away had a job.
Oh, tremendous. And what was your first job in Shakespeare?
Jack Cornetta in Love Saber's Lost.
Jack Cornetta. It's a lovely play too.
Oh, divine, yes.
And you haven't looked back since?
Oh, yes. The dips have been awful. It was such a high, that, and then going straight to the job. It was wonderful. And
just explain, if you can, in a nutshell, the difference between being a performer, which you clearly were instinctively and naturally when you were entertaining in the Working Men's Club, and being an actress. Because clearly in your head, there's quite a difference. What is the difference? We know what being a performer is. It's putting over that number. But what does an actress do that's different? And why do you prefer it?
I don't know. I'm thinking before I say something stupid. It's being my real self when I'm acting, and it's just a lot of show when I'm dancing. That's the nearest I can come with anything, because, of course, you're not supposed to be your real self. You're supposed to be someone else. But you slowly become the part. It creeps into you. Acting your socks off, sort of dancing. Acting isn't acting your socks off. It is being. I feel totally an actress in every way.
So you are not performing, you are being.
You're being.
You're also somebody, having known you for a long time now, who is interested in the life of the mind. You actually, that interests you.
Yes.
The words interest you.
Yes.
What's going on there. Intellectually, you like to be challenged, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. We are coming to the end of our conversation, and we've been concentrating on your childhood, but I do want to ask about two different actors that you worked with when you were very young. And the first time I saw you was in a play, early 1960s, so you'd have been coming up for 30, with Laurence Olivier. It's a play called Semi-Detached.
Oh, yes.
By David Turner. I think it was originally done with Leonard Rossiter, am I right?
Yes.
Somewhere in the provinces.
Yes.
It came into town.
Yes.
And it was before Olivier started the National Theatre. He was ready to do a commercial job.
Yeah.
And he was the great actor of his day.
Yes.
He was the most famous and celebrated. And you found yourself in this play.
Oh, yes.
How come?
I'd worked with Alec Guinness before Sir Lawrence.
Oh, he was the other person I was going to ask about, because they're such different personalities.
Yes.
Well, tell me then about Alec Guinness.
I worked with Alec on a UNESCO play, Exit the King. And he stopped me being sacked. That was working for George Levine. It was a maid in the play. She was there's a working maid, and he wanted me to play it old, and I said, no point in having me when it's old. There's nothing worse than young people trying to look old. You must have an old person. I said, this part would be brilliant if it was played by a young person. So in the end, he said, oh, all right then, you're playing it. And for a week, I played it. And he got very cross with me. He said at the end of on the Friday, I'm going to let you go.
This is George Levine, the director.
George Levine, the wonderful man most people think he is. And he said, you'll have to go. I'll get somebody else. But can you play this afternoon? Because I can't get in there till Monday. So do you mind coming back? I went off and had a very sad sausage and chips somewhere. I always remember the sausages. And I came back, and there was Alec Guinness waiting for me. And he said, I hear George wants to let you go. And he said, but I don't. And I've talked to George, and from now on, I'm going to direct you. Because George said that I wouldn't take his direction. Well, he was directing me as an old person. And it went on, because when we got up to Edinburgh where we were opening, they put a grey wig in my room. I was so angry. That I went out and said to hairdressers and said, "Will you dye this red?"
Oh my.
And they did. And I went on the bright red wig that evening. And then they gave me a turban. So I thought, all right, we'll settle on a turban. And I did. I just had direction from Alec.
Just explain to me your special relationship with him. Don't know why, but whenever you talk about him, he clearly was very special to you. And I somehow feel he's a key, one of the keys to you. Why was he special to you? What was the quality he had? And what did he give you, Alec Guinness?
I felt very close to him immediately. And I said a silly thing during rehearsals. I said, "Oh, well, I hate my mother anyway," or something like that. And his ears pricked up and he said, "I was most interested that you said you hate your mother." I said, "Oh, well, I don't know. I mean it really." And he said, "Well, I do. I hate mine." Then we just became friends. He was wonderful to me in Edinburgh. I was in lousy digs. He took me out of my digs and said, "There's a room for you at the big Caledonian Hotel or something," which was it, and picks up the bill and everything. But the interesting thing about the play was I read all the reviews and they were only picked out Alec terrifically and me. Because we were playing UNESCO and he knew, like I knew, that she shouldn't be old and it was much more effective with her young.
And you stayed close to him throughout his life, didn't you?
Yes. I knew him right up to...
And really, in a nutshell, what I'm after is, what do you think was the special affinity that you had for each other?
We're both bitches. That's about it. No, not about it. I think it sounds terribly grand for me to say, but I think we admired each other. I admired his acting and he admired mine. But then I also admired Laurence Olivier and got on very well with him.
Well, it was a very different kettle of fish.
Yes,
he could combine, Olivier, the performing and the acting, couldn't he? Don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, he was one of those. He could do both.
That was terrific. Yeah. Terrific, yeah.
We've almost run out of time, which is sad because I wanted to ask you a little bit about all the men in your life, but I've not allowed myself. You may be relieved by that.
I am.
But I do want you to tell, because it makes me smile so much, the story you told me the other day about when you were, because you've done so much Shakespeare, and we were with David Suchet, who was with you in As You Like It. You were in As You Like It in Stratford in the 1970s, giving Rosalind, and he came in to play Orlando. He wasn't cast as Orlando.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about that, though wonderful as it was. But on the back of that, you told me a story about when you later played Rosalind in America.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell me that story? And I promise then I will release you.
What story?
About the night of the storm and the electricity.
Oh! Hurricane Bell, you mean?
I do mean Hurricane Bell. What happened?
Well, I was in America, and playing Rosalind, as you say, and in a very nice house they'd given me. And one morning, everybody out, please, there's going to be a hurricane. And two gay boys who were living somewhere called me up and said, "Don't worry, we'll come down and get you." They drove me to their place and another part of Connecticut. And so we're quite happy there. And it suddenly says, the radio says, the hurricane will now be centred in, I think it was Bethany, which was where we were. Well, I'd moved away from into the dangerous area. But they said, we're a bit scared, aren't you? And I said, well, yes, I suppose. I've never been in a hurricane before. I started taping the windows that they told us to, like the war. I started singing war songs and everything. And they said, well, listen, we're so nervous, the two of us, that we're going to take some coke.
Oh, cocaine, yeah.
And I said, I've never had any. I don't know what it's like. I don't know it at all. So they said, I'd never taken any drugs. And they said, you sniff it up your nose. And they handed me some glass with 6 lines on it. So I sniffed up all 6.
Oh.
And they turned round and said, what? Those were ours too. That you've taken our coke. And you've had 6 lines. And so they were very cross, but they had some dope, so they smoked. So we came to night time. They were in one bed and I was in another. And I was beginning to be high as a kite. And I thought, I don't like this storm. I don't like being in this bed by myself. I'm going to get up and go into bed with them. So I got up and went into bed with them. They were pretty dopey with her. And the next morning, I was still high as a kite. And it was a pretty dreadful storm. A tree had been blown down in the garden and right across my bed where I was sleeping. So I was, something told me to get out of bed and get in with them. And so they said, we're performing. And said, you're going to have to play tonight. And I was full of it. So we went down and we got ready, and I was so crazy with that when I was on stage, I wouldn't come off. And if anyone came on, I thought, go away, it's only me they want to see. I was absolutely disgraceful. Luckily, there were only about 11 people there. I started, as you're taken on, nearly always, Rosalind and Celia are taken on in some kind of cart at the end. Mm-hmm. And they took us on, and as it came on stage, I went into the depression. And I thought, oh, God, here we are. God.
If I say to you, and this is the home stretch now, if I say to you, a moment of joy in your whole life, what suddenly springs to mind? A moment of joy. Suddenly, what do you see?
Oh, I'm hundreds. I mean, thousands. I can't imagine playing Rosalind, but that was such fun. A joy almost, well, very often. I've got lots of moments of joy.
I imagine, was it Russell Crowe knocking on your door saying, have I imagined Russell Crowe? I've got the wrong person in South Africa saying, are you up for it? That might have been, that used to be your moment of joy, but I've got the wrong actor, haven't I? Who was it who knocked on your door in South Africa?
Russell Crowe. Said, I'm out for it.
Yeah. Again, this could be like Doris, one of those fantasy stories. I seem to remember you were filming in South Africa
No, never been to Africa.
Well, who was this actor? Who was?
You've got the wrong actress.
I may have got the wrong actress. I'm so sorry. I'll call Felicity Kendall later. No, somebody knocked on your door and said, "Are you up for it?" Hunk of an actor. Quite recently, this was.
Oh no, because it was.
Even you can't remember.
Tom Conti.
No, it wasn't Tom Conti. It's always Tom Conti. We know that story. We don't need to hear that story. No. It's a well-known international film star. But it'll come to you in a minute.
I can't remember.
But he was a gorgeous physical specimen who came to your door. And you let him in, and then when he made his intentions clear, you said, "No, I'm shut up shop. I'm closed for business. You'll be on your way."
Oh, yes. Ah. Yes, darling Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Because what? Yes. Go on.
Yes, I had to say no because I was too old. At least I thought I was too old. People are crazy now. They go on doing it. I was 70 that week. I was going to be 70 at the end of the week. And he was 27 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It was ridiculous.
Well, he didn't think so. He was disappointed. Well,
no,
why not?
He was disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
He was very disappointed.
What makes me laugh about you, and I heard you doing it again, that wonderful film where you and 3 other dames are reminiscing.
Oh, yeah.
And you saying you never felt you were attractive. And then you actually saw some photographs of you when young and thought, well, actually, I wasn't that bad. Because you've always been attractive, but you've always felt you weren't attractive.
I think I didn't think I was unattractive because I was always quite happy with the way I looked. But I mean, I wasn't a Cleopatra type. I wasn't obviously attractive. I like being unobviously attractive. I liked being. I knew I was off centre as a person who just a bit. That they're much more interesting than the very beautiful girls. Always, there's something just wrong somewhere. And that's much more interesting than being beautiful. But I would hate it. I wouldn't have liked being beautiful. I think it's a burden to be beautiful.
Were you consciously sexy or?
Consciously, yes. I was consciously. I liked it. And I could always get anyone I wanted. So there was nothing boring about life at all.
There certainly wasn't. A moment of sadness that comes to you. How did you feel when your parents eventually died? Were they a good age?
Yes, they were both went. My father 86 and my mother 94. No, I thought they both had lives that they enjoyed.
Did they enjoy your success?
No.
Oh.
They didn't understand it at all. I think I've told the story many times about the time I went home and I'd just done the cocktail party.
T.S. Eliot.
Which I'd been with Alec and I had the most wonderful reviews and so had he. And I didn't show off. I went to my parents' house and I didn't say a word. And I heard about the allotment and at dinner. My mother was a dreadful cook, but we were having a Sunday lunch and I heard about all the neighbours and what they're doing. And finally, I did that stupid thing after about 2 hours and I said, have you read in the notices for the cocktail play, the play I'm in at the moment? And my mother says, yes. You weren't the Daily Mirror's idea of a martyr. It was the only bad review I'd had. And it was the only paper they read. And it was the only paper that mattered in our street. I hardly ever made it to the Daily Mirror.
I do remember you telling me that your brother began to rate you when you appeared in a play by Geoffrey Archer. He thought,
oh, yes. I practically did it for him.
Okay, what have you learnt in this long and remarkable life of yours? What have you learnt?
That I chose the right thing to do, and very few people are lucky enough to hit what they want. Oh, I'm going to cry. To do just what they want to do.
We're all going to cry now. So we'd better say thank you, Eileen Atkins.